Alrighty guys, it is Qaaman here today, and as suggested by one of my subscribers, Dragon Ball Awesomeness LOL, I have decided to bring back one of my older video segments. So, in today's video, I will be doing a Who is the Real segment on who is the real Guldo and Recoome. And since they are both very small characters, I have decided to fit both characters in this video today, covering their appearance, interesting facts about them, and some personal insight into the characters. So without wasting any more time, let's get straight into this video. Let me quickly mention, however, that there will be a guest in today's video. So let's get started.
Alright everybody, what's going on? It's Thundershot, and I'm here today helping out Qaaman and his Who is the Real series, this little duo segment we're going to be doing. We're going to be tackling a specific group. But anyways, today I'm going to be talking about the creepy little green alien, Guldo. You know, we all know and love him. So let me begin by starting with his appearance. So Guldo ranges from 3 to 4 feet tall, easily making him the shortest member of the Ginyu Force, followed by a much taller, although still pretty short, Jeice. He also noticeably has 4 eyes around his head, which give him somewhat of a fish appearance based on the location of his eyes. But what I find interesting is that based on his head structure and where his eyes are at, he's the only member of the Ginyu Force to not wear a scouter, as you can see on the picture shown here. And the reason the conclusion we came to about this is that it would just be really difficult for Guldo to wear a scouter based on where his eyeballs are and the shape of his head. They probably didn't form a scouter specifically for him, and that's probably why he doesn't wear one. Also, it's probably important to note that he's pretty overweight. He's a pudgy little dude. Alright, now let's move on to some facts about Guldo. Let's start by talking about his name. Basically, just like almost every single character in the history of Dragon Ball Z, Guldo's name is based on a pun, along with all of the Ginyu Force members. Their names are all based on dairy products. So let's start with Guldo's. His name is actually a word for Gerudo, which in Japanese translates to yogurt. In the manga, it's weird. His name is actually Gerd instead of Guldo. I don't know why the change was made, but that's just an interesting little fact you probably didn't know if you haven't read the manga. Another quick fact about Guldo is that he is the only member of the Ginyu Force to never actually meet Goku while he was alive. He did briefly see Goku in a filler episode in the afterlife when Goku and Pikkon went to go fight against Frieza, King Cold, and Cell. Along with that, the Dragon Ball Z Super Saiyan Daizensu reveals that Guldo learned that he had psychic powers when he was younger, and he would do mischief to women, such as lifting up their skirts and stealing toys from children. The little pervert. In terms of race, according to the Dragon Ball Z anime adventure game, Guldo is of a race called the Boss. In another game called Super Saiyan Densetsu, Guldo is shown with pink and yellow comrades called Zella and Purin, although the picture may appear a bit chippy, I'm sorry about that. There was also an alien from Dragon Ball Online who looks similar to Guldo, as well, as you can see in this picture shown here. But this concludes Guldo's race. Now, what I need to question about the source is that the image that they used to show Guldo lifting up what appears to be a human skirt, and stealing toys also seems like something that a human child would do. But considering Guldo was a space alien, this is where we kind of have... I mean, why would he be lifting up human skirts if he's a space alien? But that's going to do it for that part. That's just the observations that we've got here. In addition, as mentioned before, Guldo cannot wear a scouter based on his head shape, but he still manages to sense Krillin and Gohan's energy on planet Namek. This would make Guldo one of the few, if not the only member of Frieza's empire to be able to actually sense energy, assumably connected to his telekinetic powers. Now, as far as personality and techniques go, for those of you who don't know, Guldo is actually the weakest member of the Ginyu Force, and he's willing to admit that. Ironically, he also seems to be the member who has the most hatred for Vegeta, as Vegeta has teased him countless times. I think there was something about a dog treat. But anyways, because of this, most of what we see in Guldo's personality involves his hatred against Vegeta. Aside from that, despite him being weaker power-wise, he makes up for it with his amazing psychic techniques. Most of his techniques revolving around the use of telekinesis, which he uses to pick up certain objects, such as tree branches, and making them into sharp skewers. He also picks up opponents and will hold them still in the air while he does whatever he wants to. For his telekinesis, he also, aside from his telekinesis, he also possesses the power to freeze time, which is shown as a very useful move against both Krillin and Gohan during their fight. But Guldo's last and most important technique is his bad breath, which, according to Vegeta, is very, very deadly. So as far as my personal overall insight goes into the character of Guldo, I've always kind of believed that Guldo and Ginyu could overthrow Frieza, or just about anybody, if they planned it correctly. I mean, think about their powers. Guldo could use his telekinetic powers to paralyze Frieza, for example, of course, and then Ginyu can use the body change technique. And to me, this should be able to work with almost anybody in theory, right? I mean, you know, when Boo shows up, they can do it with Boo, Cell, I mean, just about anybody. They could freeze bodies, change bodies with it if they really wanted to. The only question left hanging is whether or not Guldo's techniques could work on significantly stronger opponents, such as, at the time, Frieza or Goku, because we never really get to see him fight anyone that strong. I mean, for the most part, well, he did. He only really fought Gohan and Krillin, so we don't really know for sure if that would work or not. But if it could work, then he could have been a very valuable asset in rebelling against Lord Frieza. But this concludes the Guldo portion of this video. I want to thank all you guys for coming out, and I hope you guys learned something. Also, in closing, I would like to thank Qaaman's Land for allowing me to come out here and do this little video segment thing for him. It was really fun, and I hope he lets me come back in the future. And aside from that, I would like to ask some of you guys to go ahead and check out my channel. I'm sure he'll leave the link in the description down below, but I report Dragon Ball Z news as it comes out. Along with that, I cover Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse, which is a brand new Dragon Ball Z game going to be coming out soon if you haven't heard of it. I report the news on it, so go ahead and subscribe down there. And along with all that stuff, I also do video game playthroughs. I'm currently in the middle of a Sonic Adventure 2 Chow Garden playthrough, a Prototype playthrough, and Skyrim. So that's going to conclude my time for today, but I wanted to let you guys know to keep an eye out, because in the very near future there will be yet another addition to this little series with more members of the Ginyu Force, and the next one might include a very special little red villain from Space Australia and his big blue partner who may or may not be the fastest thing alive. Spoilers, he's not the fastest thing alive.
So, I'd like to come back on and say that I really appreciate and thank Thundershot for coming onto my channel today to talk about the Guldo portion of this video, and I will resume this video talking about Recoome. So moving on to Recoome, let's first start off by talking about his appearance. He is a very tall and muscular alien with orange hair. Despite this, I think we can honestly and safely agree that Recoome could pass for a human. There are humans who could grow to his height, as we have seen 7 to 8 foot freaks or very tall NBA players, so Recoome could easily pass as a human appearance-wise with no difficulties at all. Also, Recoome's body was supposed to be the basis for Olibu in the filler episodes of The Afterlife, as Olibu was designed with Android 16's face and Recoome's body. You can check that older video out in the description. Now, let's start off with some interesting facts. Let's start off by talking about Recoome's name. As mentioned before by Thundershot, all Ginyu Force members have name puns on dairy products, with Recoome's Japanese name being Recoome, which is the Japanese word for cream. According to the Super Saiyan Densetsu guide as mentioned before by Thundershot, it is said that Recoome practiced dance when he was growing up, which is how he got his various poses. Similar to Guldo, it should also be noted that Recoome and Guldo are the only Ginyu Force members that Krillin and Gohan fought directly with their original bodies. Burter and Jeice were fought by Goku and Vegeta, and Ginyu only fought against Goku prior to the body switch. Now we all know that Ginyu fought Krillin and Gohan using Goku's body, but he didn't fight with what we would consider his original body, even though it's extremely likely that his original body probably wasn't his anyways. Now, after analyzing Recoome, it is interesting to note that I found that Recoome and Nappa are similar in several ways. Both Recoome and Nappa are extremely large and muscular characters that have comrades who are smaller and more powerful, with Nappa having Vegeta and Recoome having Captain Ginyu. Both Nappa and Recoome fought against several Z fighters each, and had a lot of battle damage done to their armor without sustaining much actual damage to themselves until Goku arrived. Both Recoome and Nappa underestimated Goku to the extremes and were both defeated by Goku with relative ease, with Recoome losing in one blow and Nappa losing in only a few blows respectively. On the comical side of things, both Nappa and Recoome knocked out Krillin in one blow respectively each. It is also important to conclude their similarities by saying that both Nappa and Recoome were killed by Vegeta when their bodies weren't in a position to really move as well, with Vegeta killing Nappa after he was crippled by Goku's Kaioken, and Recoome being killed by Vegeta after he was knocked out by Goku. However, the biggest difference between the both of them is that Recoome is extremely flamboyant as compared to Nappa, who's extremely macho. I have two more interesting facts that I'd like to share with you guys about Recoome. One of them is that although his race was never given a name, the video game Super Saiyan Densetsu has two characters whose names were Earth and Zofudo, who were members of his race in other colors. This implies that Recoome may be one of the few mutants of his race who could pass for a human based on skin complexion. Another interesting fact is when you compare the original Ocean dub to the Funimation dub, you will see that there is a significant difference in the type of voice that Recoome has. In the Ocean dub, Recoome sounds a lot more sophisticated, and in the Funimation dub, more in particular the remastered sets, Recoome sounds a lot more, I guess you would say, dim-witted and dumb. You guys can see the differences here.
Well, kiddies, are you ready to get started?
Now this is one of my favorite little moves.
As far as his personality and techniques go, Recoome's personality is goofy and sadistic as he enjoys taunting his opponents, as shown with Gohan and Vegeta. He even flipped Goku off in the uncut version as well. In terms of fighting, it is unclear who is stronger between Recoome, Burter, and Jeice, since Krillin said that those three are approximately the same in power. We could clearly see, however, that Guldo was clearly the weakest and Ginyu is clearly the strongest. So we could safely say that Recoome falls into the middle category of power as compared to his Ginyu Force comrades, but if you guys have other thoughts on who's the second, third, or fourth strongest member of the Ginyu Force, please say so in the comment section below. With that said, Recoome stands out from his comrades with most of his attacks having his name in it. For instance, he uses Recoome Eraser Gun on Vegeta, although it was evaded with the help of Krillin and Gohan. He was also going to use Recoome Bomber on Goku, but Goku interrupted it, with that technique only being accessible in video games. He also uses the Recoome Renegade Bomber on Gohan as well. Despite this, his fighting style uses a lot of energy attacks in conjunction with his hard-hitting, brutal physical attack moves as shown throughout the series. For my personal insight into Recoome, I noticed that when it pertains to Gohan's hidden powers throughout the series, it seems as if Recoome was the one villain in which Gohan's hidden power didn't really get unleashed against. Ironically, based on the situation at hand, it was a perfect situation for Gohan's hidden powers to come out, but against Recoome, that just wasn't the case. The filler implies that a little bit came out against Recoome, but I didn't find so. Ironically, Gohan himself said his hidden powers came out against the Ginyu Force in a flashback when he was training against Goku, but looking back on the series, I seriously didn't find so at all. But those are just my thoughts. Another quick observation that I will always remember about Recoome till the day I die is that when I played a lot of Budokai games as a kid, I always remember that whenever you beat up Recoome a lot, he says this: "You do well! You do well!" But these are just my thoughts on Recoome himself, and I'll play a little audio clip so you guys can relive some of my childhood moments. So guys, that has been my video for today. Overall, I'd like to thank Thundershot for coming onto my channel and helping me with the Guldo section. As implied by Thundershot, you guys will probably see another duo that may be related to the Ginyu Force next week if you caught his drift. Please remember to subscribe to both Thundershot and Blackenfist, as their channel links will be in the description. But overall, over everything else, please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe, and remember, as I always say, to have a great day, guys.